someone who massively struggles with dealing with cravings and appetite in the evening and are feeling this sense of loss of control and ability to let food not dictate your whole life, well, this video is for you. So last video, we discussed some of the potential mechanisms as to why food feels like it's becoming both more addictive and some of the potential mechanisms as to why we use food as a way of dealing with stresses in our lives and the potential environmental factors which also contribute towards this. So today I'm going to give you my top 5 strategies that have both helped myself and clients to build both a healthy relationship with food and hopefully help you to accelerate your weight loss journey in a way that doesn't feel as daunting and give you the tools to go further in terms of progressing your health and fitness journey. So my first tip is to simply eat without distractions. Now, we are typically in a world where emails, meetings, and everything digital seems to be at our fingertips at all times. How many of us are typically eating at our desk on a regular basis? So the first tip is very simple. You are going to give yourself that time to stay away from screens, no social media, no gadgets, and simply just eat your meal and enjoy it. Take your time, really slowly process things. Just by giving yourself that time to slow down, you're going to start to feel fuller after you've enjoyed a proper full meal. Now, some of the reasons why I also say if a client is in this position that you want to avoid distractions is simply to do with the fact that digestion occurs in a parasympathetic state, hence the term rest and digest. You cannot simply digest food if you are in a hyperactive state because blood flow will be redirected away from your stomach to other organs like our brains and muscles because sympathetic drive creates adrenaline and cortisol, and both of those amp us up instead of allowing us to rest. So if you want to avoid bloating and really being able to tune into your body and feel full, go away from the distractions and simply turn your phone off and see how that makes you feel. Now, the next technique I like to use is called sloth-sized bites, or the art of slower eating. Now, that is simply just looking at how a sloth works, which is they are very chilled, laid back, they take their time doing everything. That same attitude I want you to apply to eating, truly taking your time and slowing down. I'm sure there are many times where you've started to eat a meal and what feels like it's been 2 minutes, you look down and you see that half the plate is already gone and you have absolutely no idea where the food has gone and you have no idea whether you're still starving or are going to be super hungry even once you finish. Now, a very simple thing we can start doing here is just simply by slowing down, and that could be implementing certain constraints, such as timing how long it takes you to eat. You're going to set a 10-minute timer and make sure that it takes you at least 10 minutes to finish your meal. And you can also pair that with the distractions of eliminating them, and you will find yourself truly sitting down and taking that time to eat. If you're thinking 10 minutes sounds like a long time to eat your meal, if you chew each mouthful 20 times before you put the next one in, it's automatically going to slow that process down for you. And the reason I say this is because for us to truly allow digestion to happen efficiently, we need to chew our food because amylase, an enzyme within our saliva, starts to break down carbohydrates. So carbohydrate digestion also starts in the mouth. When we see food in front of us, that also triggers our brain that we are about to start eating. We salivate more and our stomach starts to secrete enzymes and acids as well. So both of those together help to allow us to digest food. And for that, we also need to be in a rested state. So take your time, slow down that meal, put the timer on. If you need to as well, try and use some smaller cutlery just for the time being because that will literally limit how much you can put in each mouthful. So I used to do that a lot when I was bodybuilding, is when I knew I had a meal that was getting smaller, I would start using smaller cutlery and it would last longer because I was forced to eat slower. So think about ways that you can start to eat slower and just think about how that's going to help you to feel fuller and allow that meal to last. Tip number 3 is simply planning ahead and making sure that you are not deliberately trying to starve yourself within the day. We don't typically overeat in the day because that's when we are hyper-focused, we can divert our attention to different tasks. But in the evening, that's when cravings and hunger truly starts to kick in, and our inhibitions are typically lower as well. So we are more inclined to want to eat and offload all of the stresses of the day through comfort seeking. So my advice is, if you are that person who you're absolutely fine in the day, but you're deliberately restricting, you need to simply start by eating more balanced meals throughout the day. We know that fasting is a stressor on the body, and if you are already someone who struggles with anxiety, then adding an additional stressor by deliberately restricting more is only going to make it more prominent and more of a larger issue to deal with. So balanced meals throughout the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Spread your calories out evenly, make sure that they each have protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats within them, and are balanced with a good variety of fruit and vegetables. So you don't necessarily even have to calorie count at this point if you're already starting to practice healthful eating behaviors. So give that a shot and see how it feels to not have to bank all of your calories in the evening. You're going to feel fuller and less inclined to want to snack and crave loads of other sugary foods if you are eating properly and fueling yourself in the day. So the next tip, or tip number 4, is to challenge your thoughts. So we know with a lot of binge eating disorders and eating disorders associated with high consumption of food that there's often a component of anxiety related to it, which means that stress plays a role. And it's not necessarily just the food that's the issue. It's to do with the fact that we have maladaptive coping strategies that once protected us but no longer serve us anymore. So CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, is widely used, and what that often does is identifies the trigger, the thought that is associated with it, and the response. So what it does is it helps you to understand what these triggers are. So if you're someone who is completely disassociated right now, start journaling and start trying to understand your thoughts. Maybe that's through meditation and doing some breath work and finding strategies that are going to help you manage the stress. So an example might be that if you had something in the day, like you had a donut, the thought might be, or the trigger might have been just the fact that you ate it. And then going forward from that, the thought that goes behind it might be, I've ruined it. I've fucked whole of today up, so I may as well just eat what I want for the rest of the day because it's completely ruined. But I want you to then challenge that thought and be like, is this true? Or can I change the response and be like, it's okay that that happened. I'm still going to move forward because I still have the rest of the day and I still have a chance to balance my meals and make sure that I'm going to be fine and can get back on track. The two responses have completely different outcomes. And as you can see, just by simply challenging those thoughts and finding better strategies to cope with the stresses will help you to feel better in the long run. And this is why it's amazing to have great friends and support networks around you, because they will help you to deal with these things more, and they can be amazing with helping you deal with the stresses. So remember, you are not alone in this. My final tip for you today will be to focus your goals and motivations towards delayed gratification. Now, it's so easy to think that progression occurs purely based on a weight loss goal that you have, but I will tell you now that having a weight goal in mind, when you reach it, you will probably not be any more satisfied. You might temporarily, and it might feel like an achievement, but then you'll have a now what? So delayed gratification will be something that kind of takes over time, but this will help you to instill better habits instead of catastrophizing things when they don't go right, if the scale doesn't go down and you start to blame yourself for it. So delayed gratification might be things like improved sleep. Your strength is improving as well. You have more energy in the day, and people are complimenting you on how much better your mood is. All of these things will occur gradually over time, the more you start to stack up habits and work towards your goals. So without just fixating on food, have a focus towards your performance and the outcomes that you are looking for, because your quality of life and your longevity will be determined by the behaviors and habits that you start by building now. So while it can be very easy to set your goals on a holiday or a wedding or whatever it is, having that overarching goal and purpose behind your actions will create a stronger sense of purpose and ability for you to move forward and progress with your fitness goals. If there's one key takeaway I'd like you to think about from this video, is understanding that both craving and binging are not flaws in your personality or issues with yourself. It's simply understanding that you have agency over determining how you respond to them, and knowing that, the relationship you have with food is something that is forged over time and does take practice. So I hope you found this helpful, and if any of these strategies work, please let me know in the comments, because I think they have helped me massively and a lot of my clients who are trying to develop a healthy relationship with food. So have a great one, and I'll see you in the next one.